You were able to build a private Facebook group of over 500 newly engaged couples in there. So go a little bit into like how you did that and how did you build that culture within that group as well?
No, absolutely. So I think at that time, like you said, I had about 500. Now it's over 2,000.
Wow.
Yeah. How do I build that culture? It's again, I'm gonna credit WMLA for that.
All right, let's do this, man.
Absolutely, man.
But yeah, Balmin, excited to have you on WLMA Weddings and Wine. I believe this is episode 9 now, and you've had some really awesome accomplishments, since you were able to work with us. Just so people get a little bit of background, I believe you joined us, maybe 2.5 years ago in the WLMA. What really excited me was you were able to quit your IT corporate job in about 6 months, and I believe you're hitting, like around $7,000 to $10,000 months at that time. Right after that, scaling to 6 figures. Recently this year, a $22,000 month. Got to fly out to France with your family and everything recently as well. So super exciting. But yeah, so people can get to know you a little bit more. And before we dive into some of the really good stuff, just tell me a little bit more about your story. How did you get into the wedding business and where you are today, etc.?
No, yeah, absolutely. No, Jordan, thanks for having me. So I'm an IT guy at heart, right? So, worked at Cisco, tech guy, 15 years. It was great, it was awesome, but you never could be your own boss, right? It's a fantastic company to work for, but, I wanted to be my own boss, right? At the end of the day, you want to be able to, you can't leave a job to your children, right? You can't pass that on, but you can pass on a business. And have them kind of multiply that. So that was my long-term vision. My whole thing, I'm more of an entrepreneurial mindset. That's the kind of person that I am. I just didn't know what to start. I just told myself, hey, whatever I'm good at, I told myself if I can find something that I'm great at, then you can really monetize that and you have passion for it. So, I have 3 kids. When we spoke, Jordan, before I had 2, now I have another one and I'm done.
That's
I promise I'm done. We normally take the kids, my wife and I, to JCPenney's here in Chicago. And, I just weren't really satisfied with the photos, right? Kids were just like, squirming around. It's like a wrestling match every time. And my wife was like, why don't you just go and, buy a camera and take photos of yourself? I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. But she went ahead and bought the camera for me, and I started taking some photos of them. It was, I put everything on auto, and they were pretty decent. And I was like, well, okay, this is pretty cool. At least I get to do things my way, and and then I started doing it more and more. Got more interested in it. Take the kids out. Take photos, go to the duck pond. I started getting more and more into it, and then friends start asking me, hey, you know what, can you do my wedding for me? I'm sure. It's great opportunity to get some practice on. And I did that. Before you know it, I was set up my own website, and then I met you, Jordan, and then that's where everything took off from that.
That's awesome. So correct me if I'm wrong. It even seems like, a lot of people that I talk to, and even a lot of students there, maybe in photography, like for such a long time, but it seems like you got into photography kind of late as well. That was kind of a later thing that you got into. So when it came to that, I guess what were some of did you find there was a lot of struggles when it came to building the craft, figuring all this stuff up in time? Did you always know that you wanted to turn this into like a full-time business once you dove into it? What did that kind of look like?
So I never really had a desire to be a photographer. I think it was always in me. I just didn't realize it. Yeah. Because, back in the day, 2006, I used to go to my fiance at the time, her family's graduation. I used to, one of them little Coolpix cameras, point and shoot. I used to have it all the time, take photos and, families and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't realize at that time that I had a passion for it. I just thought, I'm just taking photos. But when I look back now, going back, I'm like, dude, you really had a passion for this. You just didn't know it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just didn't know it. So the thing is, we're all born into this world with a gift. We weren't born rich. We just need to find out what our passion is, and once we identify that, then we just hone in on it. So that's how I was able to kind of figure out my passion. Fortunately for me, it was something that has to do with photography, and it was something that I was passionate about.
Interesting. I think that's really cool. It's kind of similar with me in a way, where I think when I was always into a lot of art things when I was younger, and I got into like music. And then from music, I got into like photography. It's like I was finding where I was like passionate, and I got into photography, started building the business, and that's when I first found out like entrepreneurship was really even a thing. And I got really passionate with like business strategies, and that's how the WLMA ended up starting. It's like you find certain things that you're interested in your journey, and that can lead you in a different path, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
So I can get a feel of this as well. What were some key business strategies that brought your business where it is today?
So one of the key business strategies for me is really aligning myself with the correct people, right? So if you're aligning yourself with the wrong people, then your business is not going to be successful. So one of the things is really as a business individual or as an aspiring person to be an entrepreneur, you got to invest in yourself. You got to invest in yourself. That's the key thing. Invest in yourself. What you need is information, and you need to find out how can you get access to information. Now, information is not free. You have to pay for it, right? And there's nothing wrong with paying for it, because there are benefits of paying for that information. So that's one of the business strategies I found out. First of all, you have to have that business acumen. I got my business acumen from working in a tech company, customer facing, tech partner, Cisco partner facing, where I'm always meeting with, a customer, talking about technology. So I had that experience. That's why I had this super engaging personality, where it's not, it's very easy for me to make that transition dealing with a client, a couple really. One of so I had that already coming into the game. Yeah. So now if you're, in your job, and most jobs nowadays, they're customer service oriented, kind of leverage that when you as you make that transition into photography. So that's one of it, is an investing in yourself. The second thing is really, you need to be really a finisher, right? A lot of times we start things, but we don't finish because we hit a roadblock. And obviously that's a problem. And with every problem, there's a solution. So that's why it's a problem, because with every problem, there's a solution. Find out what the problem is, and actually come up with a plan to solve that. So that's another strategy that I actually applied.
Yeah. So one, invest in yourself, because oftentimes when we get into photography, we often learn so much in that craft. We're investing in things when it comes to that craft and building up that. But there's so many things when it comes to business that we just don't know. It's a whole new world of things that need to be learned. So investing in yourself and ensuring that you're actually, once you commit to that, you complete the job. You finish it. You take it to the end and everything, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Love that. So now I can get a feel of this as well. And I love your story, because it's a situation that a lot of people are in, where maybe they're in these jobs that they want to get out of. They want to have a thriving, full-time photography business. If an aspiring wedding photographer stuck in their 9-to-5 job came to you, what would be 3 or maybe 5 steps, something like that, that you would tell them so to go full-time and maybe even scale their business to 6 figures? What would those steps be that you would give them?
So one of it, if you're currently, make sure you currently have a job, obviously, let's say the scenario is you currently have your job, and, photography is your side gig. It's you got to be passionate about it. Are you passionate about, and not even only about photography, but any other business, are you passionate about it? If you're passionate about it, then you're more motivated. You got to find a way to have fun. Fortunately, photography is a luxury profession where everybody wants to be a photographer, right? Or everybody thinks they're a photographer until they hit that manual button on your camera. That's a whole different ball game. But you got to be passionate about it first, right? You love what you do, and then once you do that, then you invest in it. Have fun with it. That you're half for your you've accomplished half of your goal right there by just really having fun with what you're doing. Invest in yourself. One of the things that got me over the hump was WMLA. I'll be honest with you. Really kind of investing in yourself and having, collaborating with someone like Jordan, who really has been there, done it, and understand the business, has been successful on it. That's like, I think that was more than half. So, and then, obviously, another strategy is you really building your brand. Who are you as a person? Who's Jordan? Who's Balmin? I mean, oftentimes, you'll try to fit into someone else's shoes from a brand perspective. And that may, and that often the time does not work. So you got to find out who you are, right? For example, myself, I'm from the Caribbean. I'm from Jamaica originally. Most of I'm from a multicultural family, as you can tell, Jordan. So most of my clients are multicultural. A lot of them, I get a lot of different clients. But at some point, you got to ask yourself, who are you? And I cater to multicultural clients. And so you got to find, if you're a military background, if you're a military guy, that's you. Maybe you can, there's a lot of folks who are military out there. I've met a lot of people like that. You need to find who's your niche, and then you kind of focus on that. Let your personality flow. Be yourself, right? Be yourself. Make sure you're work on building your portfolio, right? Make sure your technique is great. Compare yourself to people who are on top as far as your portfolio. Is it up to par? If not, how do I get there? Then seek help, right? All those are little things from a marketing perspective that you need to kind of focus on. But in a nutshell, I know you asked me for a whole bunch of different steps, but the main step is the second step for me is, for example, passion is the first one we talked about. The second one is to align yourself with an organization that can take you to the next level. Yeah. So
awesome. Love that. So one, finding like mentors, organizations who can teach you the marketing, sales strategies and everything. Two, especially when it comes to really diving into that brand, because there's so much competition. There's more competition than there ever has been in the wedding industry, especially with how easy it is to access the type of technology that we have. Grab a camera, the types of lenses. And so really narrowing down that brand to authentically find like who you are, who that ideal client is, and making sure both non-visual and visual aspects attract that very specific client. Is that correct?
Yes, that's absolutely spot on.
Love that. And I love that you brought up passion as well, because sometimes, I post a lot of student results like on my social media and everything, and sometimes I'll have like non-wedding photographers reach out to me and they'll be like, I don't know what they're doing, but I want it too. Like, how can I be a wedding photographer? And I'll be like, don't get into the wedding industry if like you do not love photographing weddings. You don't love photography. Like, that's not the type of industry you want to be in unless you're super passionate with that art, becoming that artist and everything as well.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I totally agree with you, Jordan, because I have a lot of folks who I know, they reach out to me and say, hey man, I like what you're doing. I'm in photography school. Can I join? And then you bring them on. You're like, man, you just, you're really caught up with the glamour and all that stuff. But, a lot of folks don't want to put the work in. They're not really passionate about it, So I totally agree with you.
They don't quite understand what it takes to become a true artist when it comes to the art of photography. And then you have to learn the business on top of that. And so, but yeah, absolutely. Love those steps as well. Now, I kind of want to dive into this question because, for those who have been following, say, the WLMA for a while, they know that we run a lot of ads, we run a lot of funnels, we build nurturing ecosystems for our leads and everything. And I remember this is something we talked about maybe 2 years ago when I interviewed you back then when you first, left your corporate job.
Right.
But last time I interviewed you about 2 years ago, I remember, from your ads and your nurturing ecosystem, you were able to build a private Facebook group of over 500 newly engaged couples in there. So go a little bit into like how you did that and how did you build that culture within that group as well?
No, absolutely. So I think at that time, like you said, I had about 500. Now it's over 2,000.
Wow.
Yeah. How do I build that culture? It's again, I'm gonna credit WMLA for that because I was struggling at the time, and so one of it is definitely the running the ads, the inorganic ads, and then another one is the organic ads as well. So inorganic, definitely, but I struggled with that initially because I never had a good website, right? So it was not convincing enough, right? So now my website is a little bit different, so it's really easy to get folks to brides, couples into my group, and so that's the main thing, really, having a compelling ad creative, have a really good ad copy, and a good photo, based on what you're targeting, based on what your ideal client is. The picture that you put is a big deal, right? And it has to be consistent. Toward Instagram, Facebook, all the pictures need to be consistent. Even TikTok too, which is a new thing too, right? So everything has to be to build trust, right? And then also to your reviews. Your Google reviews are huge, right? Huge. I mean, if you have your clients go into detail based on their experience, I don't have to really ask my couples to write a detailed review. They're going to write one. If you look at my reviews, they'll post the pictures based on their experience with me for an engagement session and a wedding. So that builds trust. I'm not sure if I answered I'm not sure if I answered your question, but that's one way I got to do it from an inorganic perspective. From organic, it's really kind of like word of mouth. Maybe you look for groups, bride groups in your area, and really talk about your group. Post a link there, kind of explaining, or if you meet couples, in maybe at a wedding or potential brides, then you kind of talk about what you're doing as far as if you're running a contest, or that kind of helps to kind of lead them to that group, and also grow your group as well.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And before I kind of dive into that as well, congrats on that as well. I think people don't realize how impressive that is to grow your Facebook group to like over 2,000 engaged couples, which is absolutely awesome. So number one, it seems like Facebook ads, great photos, great copy to get them in your funnel. And I'm guessing through, say, your email marketing, are you cross-pollinating them to the group from there and everything?
That's the key one too,
Yeah, awesome. And then number two, when it comes to more organic, reaching out to other groups, and networking with brides that are maybe there as well, letting them know about the group, transferring them to your group and everything.
Yes, absolutely.
That's gold. Awesome. So when it comes to this is one thing that I know a lot of people have had trouble with. When it comes to actually having the group, let's say people run ads, they have an amazing email series, they're able to get people from their email series to their group. A lot of people often have trouble building the culture of the group, where couples, they want to engage, you start able to build your brand in there. What are some things that you've done to build a better culture within that private Facebook group for your couples?
Okay, no, great question. So one of the things I've done is definitely, if you're running some kind of a contest or giveaway, then definitely you can announce the winners there. That'll keep them engaged. Another thing is to really educate the bride and grooms. Like, we're in a age now where everyone needs to connect, and there's TikTok, you gotta put yourself out there a little bit. I think that's one of the things I wasn't doing when I started. You gotta put yourself out there. They gotta see what you look like. You gotta obviously make a fool of yourself a little bit, like, kind of put yourself out there. And they just want to see what you look like. They want to connect. They want to relate. Put your picture there once in a while if you're going on a trip, or something funny or something educational that you think couples could benefit from. You post that, on your blogs. It's a great one too. If you're updating your blogs on a weekly basis, then you can kind of post, the links in that group and kind of have a caption, and that will kind of get them engaged. Something about maybe dress or whatever, your wedding dress, or anything has to do with wedding. And then obviously, whenever you do an engagement session, do a post in the group as well, right? One of the ones that resonates well in my group was, asking brides to show their engagement rings. I'm telling you, man, that will wake up a lot of brides. All of them start showing their wedding rings and all this and that. So that one is a really, really good one that gets them engaged and get their attention. Also, for me, what works is you got to be able to post once or twice a day in the group, Instagram as well. And you may not have the time, but what you can do is invest in someone that can do it for you. And it's not, you can utilize Fiverr. Fiverr is or Upwork. Those are great places to utilize someone who you don't have to pay them a lot of money. They just want to start working, and you just kind of train them and let them know just what you need to do, and they do it daily, and that's a game changer. And it was for me, actually. That's awesome. Yeah.
And so, kind of reviewing this a little bit as well. One, showing your face, talking to them, talking to a camera and everything. That's huge, I found as well, because people want to feel connected to someone. They want to see your face. They want to even dive in a little bit into maybe even personal life. They want to build that relationship with you digitally.
Right.
And that's really huge, so they build that trust in your personal brand. A lot of posts that actually get them engaged, like you're saying, the engagement ring photos, maybe asking them engaging questions so they comment and everything in there.
Absolutely.
Consistency is one thing, is what you mentioned.
Yeah.
And then also, with that consistency, maybe even hiring someone who can do that as well. Maybe that's through Upwork or Fiverr.
Yeah.
So you can find someone who can do that consistency. You can work on other projects and everything as well. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So
Awesome.
you can offload that to them and focus on other things that can build your business, right? So.
Yeah. And it also seems like once you're building that consistency and nurturing those couples within that group, you cross-pollinate them to your website. So maybe that's through those blogs, and that way you can actually get inquiries once they are in. You have more control of them on your website platform and everything.
No, absolutely. No, that's you're totally correct.
Love that. So now, so I can get a feel of this. When you did first join the WLMA, I know you're charging maybe at $1,000 per wedding. How much are you charging right now, Ajist?
So north of 3,500, so between 35 to 5,000.
Awesome.
A month there. Sometimes you'll get maybe a slow week where you get some ones or 2,500. I've done 10K for 1 week at one point.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's between 35 to 5,000.
Yeah. And what were some key factors for you able to, to be able to go from $1,000 to like $5,000? What were some key factors to being able to raise your prices?
Well, some of one main is definitely the overall quality of work. And when I talk about quality, I'm talking about obviously the photos, because you want, if a bride doesn't want to work with you, you want them to say, hey, I know we can't afford you. That at least that makes me feel not bad. It means that my quality is so good, but man, this is our budget. And instead of saying that, man, you're not worth that. You're not worth that much. So it's the overall quality and experience, and then obviously getting the right couple who's willing to actually pay for your services, because you're confident in your ability, not only your ability as a photographer to take great pictures, but when you come on site, you're able to provide a great experience, right? From the beginning of the call, on a Zoom call, you're able to connect. Even before that, they're able to go to your website. They see the photos, they see the reviews. Those are the things that they look at first before they even send you an inquiry. So you got to make sure you have great reviews. That's what people don't really understand. Google reviews, Google is king, right? Make sure you have a good Google reviews, detailed. Get the brides to post pictures that you did for them, and then you respond to those reviews. Say, hey. Hey, Sarah, thank you so much. It was great spending time with you and Brad. I had a great time. I'm glad you love your photos. Google loves stuff like that. And then they'll increase your ability. They'll more likely to come to send an inquiry. And then we know to get your ideal client, it has to come from Google is better at that. because they're finding you. So when they find
Yeah.
you on Google, then you're able to charge a little bit higher, and and that's a great thing.
I see. So you found Google reviews has really up-leveled maybe SEO rankings, the search algorithm to find you and everything for ideal clients. That's
absolutely.
awesome.
And I'll tell you this too. Now that we're talking about it, your Google profile is key. That's one of the things I found out. Google profile is the key, because if you have to get that optimized, once you get that optimized, like posting pictures and everything like that, and then maybe posting blogs, link a blog there as a post, link it back to your website with a picture, that kind of increases your ranking.
I see.
Yes.
I see. So if you were to give someone advice on how they can get more leads from Google, maybe get more testimonials on Google, how do you approach that, getting more of your couples to give you reviews on Google, and then increasing your SEO and that algorithm and everything as well?
So what I would do is, whenever you do a wedding or an engagement session, within the next day, I normally do that. Again, you can do it, or you can have someone do it for you. You have a script where it has to be friendly and polite. I wouldn't wait until a week. Oh man, I love your photos. That's when you get them. Hit them.
Yeah, get them right there when the emotion's there.
And then I did an engagement session for a couple that I booked close to where I live. And she, I got the photos to her. She, responded this morning. I sent her review. In 5 minutes, she posted a review on Google.
Yeah.
So you do that, and you respond immediately. So you get a list of maybe ones that you missed as far as a review. You get a list of them. Send out an email or a text. A text works better, in my opinion, where they'll see it most likely. And then kind of focus on that, be on top of that, really keep following up with them, because that's key. And then replying to those reviews, and then you see your rankings go up.
Yeah, so it's almost like social media a bit, where Google sees people are reviewing this business, and then you're commenting on it, and it's seeing all the engagement with these reviews. So like social media, how it'll bring up those rankings with like an Instagram post, seems same thing with the Google rankings. And also making a really good Google profile, posting blog posts on there to get that ranking up.
Absolutely. Trust me.
That's gold. That's gold. That's really good stuff. Really good stuff. So now I can get a feel of this as well. I like to ask this to a lot of our students, so people can see who are maybe in a tough situation, can kind of almost put a game plan in their mind. If you had to start over again from scratch in a new city, what's the step-by-step process you would do to get where you are today, even faster knowing what you know now?
Okay, so first of all, I'll definitely, let's say I'm moving to Dallas, Texas, and I go to Dallas, Texas, first thing I'll do is I'll definitely change. The first thing I'll do is Google. I'll change my location. So I'll get a new address set up, obviously my new location, transfer everything over there. It transfers all your reviews. So boom, you're already connected to the area already within I think it's a 50-mile radius or whatever. So if someone Googles top wedding photographers near me, you will show up, you will show up there. So that's the first thing I would do, Yeah. So you're in the mix already as far as getting organic leads. And then, what I'll do, and then that's what I'll do first, because it's all about Google, and then obviously start building relationships, really, in the area, maybe, groups that are in the area, start connecting with them more. But the main thing that I would do is it's all about Google, kind of really shifting my focus to that area. And then obviously your website too will change if you're moving to Dallas. I'm in Chicago, moving to Dallas. If you're optimized, like my website is optimized SEO, so I'll definitely change that immediately, and then kind of really figure out how do I do it correctly? Kind of do your research, to make sure you're doing it correctly. But definitely some stuff in your website has to change as far as optimization, and then just building relationships. with vendors around the neighborhood there, you know, in your neck of the woods. So that's what I would do about doing it.
Yeah, Google and YouTube, since like they're pretty much the same algorithm now, have such powerful and different algorithms than any other social media. And because like when it comes to say like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, if something goes viral, it'll be in a big explosion viral, and then it'll drop back down.
True, so
With
true.
Google and YouTube, it's the long game. Yeah. And then once it goes, it can keep going for years.
Years, yeah.
Literally for years.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because I just started doing pushing like YouTube organic like this year, and I'm really seeing that happen. It takes a lot longer to build than like other social medias.
It does.
But people start seeing your YouTube videos when they search things on Google.
Oh,
it's absolutely awesome.
It's crazy because I watch a lot of a lot of travel videos on YouTube, and I follow some folks who just started their YouTube channel like 2 years ago. They're like 1K subscriber. Now they're like 500 K subscriber. I mean, it's just because people are just kind of like, like you said, it takes a little while, but once you get it, it just skyrockets.
Exactly. That's absolutely awesome. This is actually a question I meant to ask earlier, but I forgot.
Sure, no problem.
A lot of people have issues when it comes to wedding consultations. They either don't do them, they wing them, things don't work out very well, or maybe they just and pretty much. Or maybe they just send a pricing guide or something like that. When it comes to wedding consultations, what are some pieces of advice and best practices you have found as well?
So, I know it's a little bit intimidating for a lot of people, but what I would do is, let's say you're getting a consultation, you got to be yourself. For me personally, like the material that you taught in the class was very helpful, but what I do is I kind of tailor it based on my personality. It's a great starting block, for you, but you got to be yourself, right? At the end of the day, when you enter into a wedding consultation, like you said, Jordan, your environment has to be crisp and clean. Like your background is amazing. Mine, it's great. If someone comes in, I got a jacket on, and I'm like, okay, they immediately know this guy is serious. And those are some of the things that folks don't really understand. You got to make sure that has to be good quality. Even if the couple is in their t-shirt, it doesn't matter. You need to be on top of your game, look professional, and then also, just the goal is in sales. When I was in a tech company, Cisco, they always tell us in sales class, if you get the customer to talk, you win. Yeah, you get them to talk. So what I do is I enter and say, hey, how you doing? Congratulations on your engagement. How y'all doing? Good. Awesome. We're doing great. I say, hey, before I get started, I like to connect with my couples because, it lends to raw emotions come the wedding day if we decide to work together, So how did you guys meet? And then they start talking and all that kind of stuff. And then, and then the ice is broken. Then you ask them, hey, Sarah, what is it about Tom that you love the most? And then, that she starts talking, and then vice versa. And that, again, you already sold them, and then you talk about, your process, talk about the wedding. Tell me about your wedding. What's your dream wedding look like? They start talking about what they want to do. And, and then after that, you've already really connected with them, and it's all about pricing after that, and are you a good fit to work with each other or not? And and if not, what can we do, to kind of help get you back, to talking about booking, or it's just about that. That's my approach to wedding consultation, and just being yourself and being relaxed, and and let them talk, and you listen.
Love that. So one, like really breaking the ice. So they feel comfortable, they build that trust, and they build that rapport with you. Absolutely. And two, kind of what you're saying, like, so people kind of have a little background. Like in the WLMA, like we do teach like a script and a process, in a way that we want to go, but not getting so robotic with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Being able to be yourself within that, so people really feel like it's a real conversation, you know what I mean?
Exactly, because you're selling your brand. You're not selling someone else's brand. Someone who wrote that script is to help you but it's
guide you.
Yeah, it's to guide you, but you need to take that and turn it into you. You know,
Exactly.
That's what it is. So
Love that, and I love that you mentioned as well, especially when it comes to with how Zoom is now. You know, back in the day, 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, all my wedding consultations were usually like maybe in person. And
Right.
I'd pick like a nice place to meet with these couples and everything. Now it's Zoom, and that first impression is huge when it comes to your wedding consultations. Making sure you have, you know, nice lighting, nice backdrop. You're actually looking good. They don't feel like they're just seeing you in your living room in your pajamas or something. But having that professional presentation when it comes to what people are seeing in that camera and everything.
absolutely.
Love that. So now, what would be one piece of advice for photographers struggling to grow their business? What would be one piece of advice you would give them?
So you gotta step back, because I had to do that at some point in my business. You know, step back and kind of assess your business and ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? And be honest with yourself. Okay, is it pricing? Is it, you know, branding? You know, what else can I do more? And also, you know, and be honest with yourself. And sometimes you gotta seek professional help. You know, one of the things with WMLA that I like, I mean, you guys do a great job at providing an environment that there's coaching there available. There's, you know, the retreats that I need to register for. You know, you like the last retreat I went to, I learned a lot. I came back, I realized I need to up my Instagram activity. You know, I got to do this. When I'm posing, I got to do this with the hands, little things like that. You know, and then just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Nike, just do it, man. Just, you know, get help. And, if you have to do a little bit of rebranding, get professional opinion, expertise on it, and then make the change. And make the change and find out what's your brand, you know, because everybody's brand is different, you know.
Exactly.
You know, find out what about you and kind of project you to your clients. And I'm telling you, and the little things matter, right? The reviews, you know, Google, you know, all these things, the experience, showing up at, you know, if someone books you for a wedding, not because you get paid doesn't mean, oh my God, you got to show up and have fun, right? And create a great experience, and your business will grow from that.
Love that. And I'll see you at the next mastermind event.
Absolutely, of course, man.
Let's go. I'm excited. And where can we find you as well, Balmin?
Yeah, definitely. I'm, you know, first my website is balminbingham.com. That's my website. It's only one Balmin Bingham, so you can't miss me.
I'll add it in the description.
Yeah, and there's on TikTok now, Instagram, Facebook, but specifically balminbingham.com. You'll see a lot of my work and Instagram. So
awesome. But yeah, thank you, Balmin. This was absolutely awesome. So much amazing value. I appreciate your time as well.
No, absolutely, Jordan. Thank you for having me, man. Keep up the great work.